Good morning, I'm Jean. My pronouns are she, her. Learning and growing as a person for me was a huge part of this experience. I've always been a learning person, and I was expecting and ready to learn from this. But being 70 years old and having traveled extensively and lived in various other countries, I honestly thought the big learning was behind me. I was wrong. Step back. Seeing a 4-year-old in diapers or drinking milk from a baby bottle isn't necessarily right or wrong. It's just different. And yeah, there are cultural universals out there. I can think of only one that really works, and that's a cultural or a ritual for burying dead. And all cultures have that. But to me, it was a big surprise that celebrating birthdays, even for children, is not one of those cultural universals. I sort of noticed this when I was living in Europe. But in fact, we US Americans do birthdays more than just about anybody in the world. Who'd have thought? But I also learned that no matter how different we seem, our simple basic humanity links us so strongly. One time I was with the family and the 3 boys, ages 4 to 8, were playing. They had this animal tail thing that they tied around their waist and then would run around pretending to be some animal. One of the boys had it on and ran up to where Zara, the mom, and I were talking. He stuck out his butt with the tail on and made farting noises. Zara was so mortified she couldn't even meet my eyes. Anyone who has raised a kid can identify with this. Nobody can and will embarrass you like your kid. I have had a lifelong dream of doing literacy work, particularly with women. As such, I have an awareness of illiteracy and its implications. But as most of you know, illiteracy is not a yes or no issue. It's always a matter of degree. Until this experience, I had never encountered a person that is totally illiterate, someone who cannot read at all, someone who cannot even count to 10. It is mind-boggling to see the reality of how crippling such illiteracy is. Yet, to see someone at that level of illiteracy build a life and take care of her family of 8 children is to see a resourcefulness, strength, and resilience that few of us will ever encounter or understand. So, in closing, please remember, kindness is its own reward. Grandstanding, photo ops, throwing yourself on the sword, or really any drama of any kind does not serve. Kindness is its own reward.
My name is Mary Margaret McGee. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of the Refugee support team that has worked since January with the Saidi family. I understood from the start that the purpose of our support was to ease the refugee family's transition to the United States and to nurture that transition toward independence. I did not think clearly enough, however, about my own potential reactions to the situations I would be in. What emerged practically from the start was a lot of judgment on my part. Let me give you some examples. When I took the family to the grocery store, I would study what they were buying. Were they buying fresh fruits and vegetables? How much expensive food did they buy? Did they buy candy or other sweets? When the family asked us for housewares, I was shocked if they asked for expensive items. Couldn't they make do with cheaper versions? When I stopped to pick up the family for appointments, I noticed if the kitchen was clean, if the beds were made, and if there were all the other signs of good housekeeping. Finally, in the early days of our work with the family, we made their medical and dental appointments and organized transportation for them. As time passed, it became clear that the family was making their own appointments and finding their own transportation. These were obviously signs of resourceful networking, but I found myself wondering, how are they doing this? As if it were an affront to us that they were so independent. None of these reactions do me any credit. The only thing that redeems me is that I also understood that relationship was all, and I loved that part. When I took one of the daughters to her many dentist appointments, her mother and I would sit in the waiting area side by side and do English, practicing writing the English alphabet, pronouncing letters and words, learning the names of body parts, colors, fruits, and so on. Most of the time we were cracking up, often over the goofy translations of the translation app that we used. Asked me about aunt, A-U-N-T, and aunt, A-N-T. All of that was about learning English, but it was also about being together. Our volunteer project was such a lesson in othering for me. I suspect the lesson is not yet fully learned, and that there's loads more to say about cross-cultural encounters, as well as about the role that no common language plays. But for now, I'm grateful for this chance to grow.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Fraser. My pronouns are she and her. I'm in New York City visiting a friend right now, but I didn't want to miss the chance to tell you how exciting it's been to work with our UU Refugee program. I've been interested in immigrants for quite a while, but donated stuff, but really hadn't done anything. But then this chance came up, and I was a little fearful because I thought I don't know enough, I don't have enough resources, I don't know how I could be helpful. But fortunately, there was a whole team of us working together, and somebody else handled working with them on their finances. Somebody else got all the kids registered in schools. Somebody else handled their health, getting all their doctor's appointments. And I got the fun part. I was working with teaching English and teaching English culture, our American culture. And that's just been delightful. The kids are very education oriented. The family moved here because the father and mother wanted better education for the girls, that they could go further with an education. The school that the high school students are in had 15 students that made straight A's last semester, and 2 of those were the girls that I'm working with. They had pretty good classes in Kabul, so they had a basis of English before they got here. But we're working a lot on vocabulary and pronunciation and how do you deal with cultural situations. I've gained learned more about Islam and appreciate their Muslim culture. They have 6 prayers a day, the whole family, and they all together with that. And the discipline, the effort that the kids put into their school is amazing. They're very focused and spend hours and hours on every assignment, so they're doing a great job. At least the 2 oldest girls will go to college. The father and the son are working to support the family, and the kids are very artistic, just some beautiful artwork. What fun to work with them. I've just had such joy. In Dr. Seuss' book, we were working with an alphabet, and the parents had the least English skills. And I was working with Dr. Seuss and A, and one of the letters was A alone, and I said, I live alone. I was just using another example for it, and the father said, no, you're not alone, you're part of our family. And I've felt very loved by them. I took presents over after Ramadan for Eid, and it's customary to give people clothes. They gave all the family, all the women folk at least, got new outfits, and lo and behold, they had a new outfit for me. So I really enjoyed that. I've given lots of books. That's the things that we share the most of in our interest. It's just very satisfying to see their commitment, their warmth, their caring, their determination. And it's a great privilege to be connected with this family, and I hope that I will be for a long time. So if you're in doubt, don't be. It's great working with the team. Jill organized us very well, and it's very satisfying. So that's my recommendation. Over and out from New York.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Stafford. My pronouns are she, her, and service is our prayer. This part of the covenant spoke to me strongly when I first came to UUCP. Working with the Sadie family these last 3 months has allowed me to live it to the fullest. The Sadie family consists of a single mother and her 8 children. They came here from their 12-year stay in a Turkish refugee camp. When they arrived in Phoenix in December, only the 18-year-old daughter spoke some very limited English. They needed to immediately navigate a completely different culture, history, language, monetary system, educational system, and much more. Over the past 3 months, I have worked alongside a team of 7 UUCP volunteers to help the Sadies begin to fulfill their dream of living a free and productive life. One high point was taking 13-year-old Bessie for new glasses for her eye condition. Her old ones had only one arm, and the lenses had been hot glued into place many times. She had been trying to see with them for months. What big smiles we all had that day she got her new glasses. Another great joy was tutoring the family in English. Zahra, the mother, is eager to master English because she wants to get a job. We laughed every time I was there about the craziness and difficulty of learning the English language. It made it easier that she was always so grateful for every single language lesson. Thank you, one of her first words in English, was sincerely expressed every time I left their humble apartment. The most memorable experience I had with the Sadies was the night Mary Margaret and I took Zahra, Zulea, and Bessie to the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix for the first night of Ramadan services. When preparing to take them, I asked if there was anything we should know or do. I had never been to a mosque. They said that we should wear a scarf and wondered if we had one. They were surprised and excited that we did. I would encourage anyone who has never been to a mosque to attend a service there. The Sadie family story is a testament to the indomitable human spirit, the spirit that refuses to be broken by adversity and instead emerges stronger and more determined than ever. This is the America I want to support, and I hope you do as well, and thereby live the justice-centered part of our mission statement. I would strongly encourage you to become part of the next team of volunteers from UUCP. If you think you are not a teacher or don't possess the skills needed, please think again. You are a UU. You will be living and supporting the service is our prayer part of the covenant, and you will have such a sense of joy and purpose in doing so. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Kim. My pronouns are she and her. As an adult, I have spent a number of summers in other countries, living in Asia for a year, and I've experienced all kinds of emotion. Excitement, yes, and also a certain amount of fear. Being overwhelmed that I didn't speak much of the language, couldn't read signs. Where was I? How could I find the place that I was going and get what I needed? I was hungry. How was I going to find and order something to eat? I was so very grateful for strangers on the street and some new acquaintances that I met who came to my rescue. And there were the joys of culture to be shared, turning a corner and being in the middle of a mass dance performance. And sitting on a park bench, feeling lonely and out of place, having some young people come up and want to engage to practice their English. Feeling lonely and having someone in my class invite me out for lunch. Even though I was from a foreign place and didn't speak their language, I was welcomed. I was in these new and different places by choice because I knew it would be interesting. I was ready for new experiences, learning, relationships, and all that happened in a beautiful way. However, in the last 25 years or so, I've spent a good bit of time with many children and families who've come to a new place, the United States, not exactly by choice. Most of them out of desperation to keep themselves and their families safe from war and hunger. They bring many needs that we can help with, but also many gifts. It is such a joy to sit around the table with the Hamidi family from Afghanistan who are learning how to be at home in Phoenix, telling stories, laughing over 2-year-old Samaya's antics, asking and answering questions about all sorts of things, learning about their ambitions for education and work and new dreams, sharing the girls' successes at school and seeing their beautiful artwork. They know about our families. They value us as friends, just being together and talking. Their resettlement is at a point where they are able to do more for themselves, get medical appointments, and to make choices of what they want rather than being told about what they need to do, which is an important distinction. We've been able to help them in many ways and have learned so much from them and have the joy of becoming friends. I've never really liked the words displaced person, immigrant, refugee, although they may convey the hardship of having to leave a dysfunctional place once called home. I think we need to coin a new phrase that speaks about how we value them as new neighbors in our community. Maybe something like incoming global friends. That's clunky, but says more about the welcoming and relationship, which is really what we want to convey. Being able to together find hope in a place where sometimes hope is hard to find.